Bowl is here. Super Bowl 58 as the Kansas City Chiefs try to go back to back for the first time since the 2004 New England Patriots. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, general ages, it is Super Bowl week. It is Super Bowl Thursday here on Brandon's World. Patrick Mahomes will try to win his third Super Bowl in 4 seasons, while his opponent on the other side, Brock Purdy, was Mr. Irrelevant in the 2022 NFL Draft, and he's looking to prove people like myself wrong who say that he is a byproduct of having all these great superstar players around him, and the fact that he has had a terrible, for the most part, postseason outside of obviously the last drive in the NFC Championship game against the Detroit Lions. So when I look at this game, obviously this is a rematch from Super Bowl 54, where San Francisco had a 20-10 lead on Kansas City going into the fourth quarter. Then San Francisco got away from the run game. Patrick Mahomes made the incredible no-look pass where he just threw it up to Tyreek on fourth down. And then obviously Kansas City got the big turnover at the end of the game, and then Jimmy Garoppolo misses the big throw to Emmanuel Sanders. Chiefs at that point end up winning their first Super Bowl. Of course, they would go on to the next year lose to Tom Brady and Tampa Bay in the pandemic year, before the next year losing to Joe Burrow in the AFC Championship game, before going on to beat my Philadelphia Eagles last year in a classic Super Bowl 57. For San Francisco, this will be the third time in my lifetime they will be on this stage, losing Super Bowl 47 to the Baltimore Ravens. And then, as I just mentioned, 7 years later, losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Niners obviously are the more desperate team. Now, Vegas thinks that the Niners are the better team. They are favored by 2.5 points. And I just don't think that that is the case. I understand San Francisco does have the better roster, but Kansas City's roster is, no slouch either. Obviously, we know about the greatness of Travis Kelce. Isaiah Pacheco has really came out of the running back position. Rasheed Rice this year has stepped up as a wide receiver, as well as their offensive line, which struggled throughout the regular season, has been very good in the postseason. They only gave up one sack of Mahomes. They don't have a drop from their line receiving core in the postseason. Very few penalties in the postseason. Andy Reid has gotten this Chiefs team buttoned up and ready to go. Both these teams are battle tested. Of course, Kansas City had to go through that incredible game against Buffalo right after going in a very cold wild card game against the Miami Dolphins, and then obviously the AFC Championship game shutting down Lamar Jackson and that Ravens attack. Brock Purdy in San Francisco, after getting the first round bye, they obviously escaped Green Bay, and then I would argue also escaped Detroit in the NFC Championship game. As I mentioned multiple times, San Francisco is the hungrier team. There are players like Deebo Samuel, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, George Kittle, Trent Williams, who were all on that Super Bowl 54 team looking for revenge. Then you have a great running back like Christian McCaffrey in the picture. And San Francisco, again, is very similar built besides the quarterback. Now, for the quarterback position, I think Brock Purdy is a more mobile Jimmy Garoppolo, but can he make the throw in the moment, which he's going to need to make, I believe, to win this game? Kansas City obviously does not have Tyreek Hill from the last time these two teams played in the Super Bowl. Now, last year in the regular season, these two teams played as the Niners just acquired Christian McCaffrey. Jimmy Garoppolo was the starter for that game in San Francisco, and Kansas City whooped the floor with the Niners on their way to winning a Super Bowl. Obviously, the motivation for this team is going to be going back to back. Everybody obviously can make the argument Seattle should have done it against New England if Russell Wilson did not throw that ball, but arguably if Malcolm Butler did not make the greatest interception in Super Bowl history, and maybe the greatest break on the ball in the history of football in that Super Bowl. I think it's obviously going to come down to a play or two between Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy. I do think this is going to be a little bit of a lower scoring game than we all suspect. Maybe like a 23-16 game. I see Kansas City. I see the veterans. I see Isaiah Pacheco being able to run the ball. I see Patrick Mahomes being able to make plays. I see Travis Kelce being fearless with Taylor Swift in the crowd as Taylor Swift and his brother Jason Kelce cheers him on. And I think that this Kansas City team, which some people don't think is a dynasty yet, I do think it is a dynasty. 6 straight AFC Championship game, 3 Super Bowl appearances in the last 4 years, 2 Super Bowl victories, going for a third. Obviously, if they go back to back, everybody will have to consider them a dynasty. But this Chiefs team is a lot different than the New England team. Obviously, the New England team in their first phase of the dynasty, it was running game, it was defense, it was Tom Brady essentially being a game manager, which is what San Francisco has asked Brock Purdy to do. For Kansas City, it's more flash and motion and spinning and dancing and having fun, and being in shootouts, relying on their offense. Except for this year, where Chris Jones, who obviously came back after his week 1 holdout, he is there. L'Jarius Sneed is obviously a great corner. Nick Bolton is a very good linebacker. This defense has not given up 30 points all year long. And obviously, we talked about Kansas City this year went a stretch where they went 5 games this year, after halftime where they did not score a single point. Their offense has not been the leader of the team this year. It's been the defense. And again, San Francisco's offense has struggled throughout the postseason. It has not been a 1 game anomaly. So I think Kansas City's defense and San Francisco's defense, for that matter, is going to play a huge part in this game. But I think ultimately, we know it's a quarterback-driven league. We know it's a coach-driven league. The revenge factor is there for San Francisco, but I just don't think they're going to be able to get over the hump. I think Patrick Mahomes makes more plays than Brock Purdy. Chiefs, I think, will be the first team since the 04 New England Patriots to go back-to-back. Now, my best bets for Super Bowl 58 are as follows. I do like the Chiefs. Now, the Niners are favored by 2.5. I like Kansas City to cover the 2.5 point spread. If you're like me and you got this early, there's a chance you got it at 1.5. I do like both numbers. I like both running backs in this game, Christian McCaffrey and Isaiah Pacheco, to score a touchdown. I also like Travis Kelce to score a touchdown. And then I like the under of 7.5 in the first quarter. Or excuse me, the under of 8.5 in the first quarter. I just wanted to check that number. And the reason why I like the under of 8.5 in the first quarter is because, a lot of Super Bowls start slow. We've seen it, how many times they talk about New England, barely getting a field goal out in the first quarter. As I mentioned, I think this is going to be a 23-16 game. I like the under of 47.5 as well, if you want to take that. So, in my opinion, I do like the under, though, first quarter. I think it's going to be a really slow starting game. I like the under in that first quarter. Obviously, if I'm picking the Chiefs plus 2.5, my money line pick is Kansas City, as I mentioned, and I recap this in my NFL recap on Tuesday of the Chiefs and the Niners. And again, I just think that Kansas City, the dynasty is fun. I don't think that they're villains. I had a very good year in the money line. I had a very good year in best bets, and we're looking to end the NFL season the right way. Again, all odds are provided on FanDuel. And to recap here, I do like the Chiefs to win the game. In my best bets, I like Kansas City plus 2.5. I like Isaiah Pacheco, Christian McCaffrey, and Travis Kelce to all score touchdowns. I also like the over under the first quarter, 8.5. I will take the under. I hope you guys enjoy the Super Bowl. I hope that you have a lot of great, parties and hang out and just enjoy the last game of the NFL season, as our Sundays are about to become miserable for the next 7 to 8 months. But the good news is we have a lot of off seasons I was talking about, which I've already dove into in my 2023 NFL season recap, including free agency, draft, schedule release. I can wait. We're not going anywhere with football coverage. This should be a good game. I don't think it's going to be an all-time Super Bowl though. Like Chiefs, Eagles, Patriots, Seahawks, Patriots, Eagles. That we've seen over. Steelers, Cardinals. We've seen a lot of good Super Bowls here. Both Giants, Patriots Super Bowls in the last 10, 15 years. We've seen a lot of good Super Bowls. We haven't seen a lot of clunkers. I do not think, though, this is going to be a game for the ages. And I'm interested to see how much Taylor Swift is shown in the crowd because, like I said, I think she is great for the sport. I don't mind it at all. I think if you have a problem with Taylor Swift, then you're just not a fun person, in my opinion, because who does not like to see a little fun in the NFL product?